Hitting record. All right, everybody. So welcome. I know you can't see me right now, but you can see your classmates, and I can like change the preset. We are in a conference room today.
Whoa. Oh no.
Okay. Over in room 100, which I think is going to be a little bit better in terms of discussion for the size we have live. So first and foremost, though, what I am going to jump into at the moment, I was thinking I had Carmen up. I do. So I put up kind of a revised, not significantly revised, but a version of the syllabus that has a little bit more detail and jumps into things a little bit more. The bar's in the way. So I just put in it a little bit more because, for instance, we haven't really talked about the articles, for instance. So, and those are going to be due next week. So what I ended up adding into it then is I did adjust it so that it was like 1 page rather than 2, but a maximum of 2 pages for those. And then you can use the 3 articles, or like some of you put more this past week, that were in your introduction of the topic. And then by the time you have then those reviews written, you're going to have a solid chunk for like the core of the final paper. So what I'm hoping this does for you, especially since this is a class that for at least 4 of you is during your last semester, you know, more of you it's during your last semester, like on campus, this is your real last semester. So basically the balance of a lot of you. I know things start to get tough, so this is meant to sort of spread things out. So then the final thing isn't necessarily then like an all-nighter the day before it's due. It might still be for some of you, but I'll have gotten you at least you know, a quarter mile down the 1 mile stretch. So that's kind of the intent that way, and that's kind of what I remember liking as a student. So that's what's up with that. And why that is. So there are some instructions in here for that, you know, APA format. So what I might recommend is putting, for instance, the article citation at the top of the page, and then writing out then like a couple of solid paragraphs then, and it actually says in here to sort of summarize the topic to some degree. Review should address the following: a brief synopsis of the article, summary, how the article contributes to your understanding of your culminating project, are the 2 things that should really be addressed in a solid way. Sound good?
Yeah.
Awesome. So a couple.
Submit it online.
Online, yep. I will create a box for that in the assignment section. So as we then come through here and take a look at the calendar, this is a little bit of a wonky view, but so we are now into week 7 today, which means it's half over. I know, it's going so fast. So next week we have, the version of this I posted is not the updated version. It didn't save, but Dr. Fajian is gone. So Dr. Flatness is coming. I'll make sure that like whatever I did wrong that didn't publish the newest syllabus, I can get that corrected. But it's Dr. Flatness. And if anybody out there is going to come live, we're going to be in room 100 again for that. So, and then the week after that, we're going to talk through developing your forum type projects specifically. And then it's not going to be Adam, it's going to be Mary the week after that. I'm going to be out of town at a conference in Boston. So Mary will be in here and recording along with potentially today to present about how to talk about your international experiences. And then the week after that, a copy of your resume with your Ed Abroad programs, like a global option added. And then that would be something, for instance, that you might get into your portfolio. Great. So Dr. Buck is going to record a lecture. So the week of the 27th is going to be recorded only. She's not available. She teaches at this time. And then April 3rd is then when you are going to present to your classmates sort of an early version of your final project. There we go. So And then I'll have a speaker come in and talk about like now what, sort of pulling it all together. Which at this point I've targeted Vicky Aguadando, who is actually she's Ghanaian, so for those of you who don't know Ghana, but she's the university's current assistant vice president provost for international affairs. And then we have the online forum, which what I have decided, and it's a little bit different in the new version of the syllabus, which is printed for you guys, but not online quite yet, is it's going to be like we'll post them as their presentations on the college website or a different format, and then allow for comments and questions for 48 hours. And you'll be expected to respond to those if there are any questions about it. So it's going to be a completely online forum, that sort of thing. All right, and then your papers are due during finals week. So I'll look up whatever date that would have been for this class meeting time, and that will be the date for the papers. Sound good?
Yeah. Sounds good.
Awesome. All right, so the plan then for today is to go over sort of having your classmates, giving you guys an opportunity to articulate for each other what's going on, like where your projects are at this point. So kind of what you wrote out for me, telling your classmates about that. They give you feedback, and then also showing them your ePortfolio at this point. So online students, we're going to talk this out in class, and you're welcome to watch and that sort of thing. But then for you guys, what I've asked you to do is to record yourself sort of talking about it to some degree. And then maybe we'll just put a link to your ePortfolio or something for the online folks. And then once you post your recording of you talking about your final project, for them, you guys don't have to do this because you're doing it live.
Yeah.
Then the way I've set up Carmen is that they will randomly assign you two people to review. So you'll review those people, their videos talking about their final project and give them some feedback, and then go to their ePortfolio page, which they will then have to give you a link to. So that's the online folks, which I'll try to provide additional clarity if you guys have questions about that. So, but you guys today, so is there anybody who wants to go first and tell us what you're doing and what you're excited about?
I'll go first.
Okay, Brittany's going to go first.
So I don't have anything on the ePortfolio yet.
Okay.
I haven't put anything on there, so it's just the basic stuff because I was kind of waiting to see what you thought about my final paper topic because I feel like it's kind of the way that it was structured. Did it seem like it was okay to put like all of the things in one? I know I talked about like welfare and like zoo settings and like current issues and everything. Would that be okay to use that? Okay.
Yeah, that's fine,
Okay.
if that's what you want to do. So I think once you start writing it, you might find that it's a lot of topics to cover.
Yes.
And that
Yeah.
limited number of pages. So yeah, so but you want to tell them what your topics were, and then they can maybe help you synthesize that a little bit.
So my topic is kind of going to lead into what I'll be doing in grad school. I'm going to be starting a research project. But my like specialties or my interests are mainly in exotic or wildlife, so animals in a captive setting in a zoo or at like a nature preserve. So when we went to Spain, we did visit a zoo there, so I was going to incorporate a lot of that in what I saw as far as kind of welfare in the zoo that I saw, differences between zoos there and zoos here, what I liked, what I didn't like, kind of just my impression. And then when I go to South Africa, it's obviously going to be animals in a wild setting, and there'll be a lot of like sanctuaries and national parks and everything, but it would be different kind of perspective seeing them out in the open. And I was going to relate that back to, again, zoos here from my experience, what I've learned. And then my grad project, if everything works out, it's still very new and there's nothing set in stone because it won't, it's still up in the air. I should find out at the beginning of March if the grad project is actually happening, so that's when my meeting is and everything. But it'll be working on animal welfare things within the setting. So it'll be assessing exhibits and then also trying to translate animal welfare to the public. So that's a lot of stuff, and kind of the end of this paper, I was thinking zoos are very controversial right now. It's not only in the United States. A lot of people either hate zoos, go there just for the entertainment, or maybe have a greater appreciation and understanding for zoos. So I was thinking maybe, people go to a place like the Columbus Zoo where it's, the #1 zoo in the country. The welfare is really great. There's a lot of ways they can learn about conservation projects, real world issues and everything. If all zoos were like that, maybe people would have a different perspective. Trying to figure out a way to like translate that to the public some way. But yeah, it's a lot. And I was with the South Africa part, the 2 South African animal classes that I've taken, we learned a lot about obviously different species, but it's like issues as far as like poaching, trophy hunting, certain tribes that they hunt like leopard and don't see any issue with it, and how do we teach them not to do that? And zoos support those types of projects too. So I was going to tie that in there as well. Yeah.
I can tell you're very passionate about it, and I like how it's going to transition directly into your graduate project.
Yeah, so I'll have to figure out if I guess all of it kind of flows, because I can just like focus on specifically I guess like differences between animals in the zoo in Spain, animals in the zoo here from my experience, and specific classes that I've taken within the animal science department. We've learned a lot about zoo settings, and we've visited the Columbus Zoo, done a lot of behind the scenes stuff, and I could relate that to animals in a wild setting. But I won't be on the trip until after this class is over, so it'll be a lot of kind of what I've learned so far and what I'm expecting to see. So I think I just need to do some more thinking about it. But you guys can tell me what you think too.
Sounds like you've processed it quite a bit.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I think once you start writing, you'll get a sense of, even though your grad project is much bigger, this might be like quarter of that.
Yeah.
And then even less writing in terms of percentage.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there's definitely a synthesis of your international experiences.
Here. Okay. Yeah. I haven't applied or anything yet because it wouldn't start until spring semester of 2019. So it's very like preemptive. But if everything works out, my grad project will start this summer, but I won't technically be a grad project yet. I'll be employed by the zoo, and then once I start grad school, work for a zoo.
Yeah, it's really cool. It would be in the animal science department. It would be
Animal science, yeah.
really neat.
So yeah, and so then your ePortfolio, you have it. It's set up.
Yes.
Ready to go. So just sort of in case some of you haven't really looked into this, there are different sort of leading questions within here just so that you can fill out. If you don't know, for instance, which course you use for culture and language versus like education abroad and that sort of thing, because some people use education abroad experiences to meet all of the categories. So like including like within their major and culture and language.
I think the culture and language and the education abroad courses were the ones where I wasn't sure. So I was going to use the 2 South African animal classes that I've taken, but also
for your in-class major.
And then there's I took a human-animal interactions prereq course for Spain. So
True. Yep. So that would be within the major.
Okay.
Yep. So and then your 2 education abroad programs, you can kind of pick and choose. You can actually kind of write about both of them if you want, like within education abroad, and maybe even just like copy and paste these leading questions, because these are only like once you go to edit, these are just sitting there like any text you would add yourself.
Okay.
And then like maybe have like subheaders that say, Spain and then South Africa. And then for cultures, language, and other type course, like for class description, like you might write in, you participated in 2 education abroad experiences that you can find under the education abroad heading.
Okay.
And maybe under class reflection, you can maybe talk about just briefly what you learned about the culture, for instance, there.
Okay.
Because the assumption within the global option is that This category was to help you gain an advanced understanding of culture or language, one or the other. And so you may not have addressed that particular growth within this area. So, so that's why then I'm recommending maybe that you add in just another short paragraph, for instance, here, explaining what you learned about culture and the growth that way. You could also then potentially use this area to talk about the CQI. For instance, that might be a good place to put in maybe some quotes or different paragraphs from your CQI review paper, or the whole darn thing if you're really excited about it. So you can also upload into here screenshots. So if you were to want to upload like a screenshot of your report, one of the pages in particular or something, you can do that. Sound good?
Yes, good.
All right, good deal. So who's next? Walls, you're up. That was kind of pun intended. Don't put up your walls. Okay, sorry.
So my paper is about the educational systems. So I went to Brazil. I'm going to Ghana, and I was going to go to the United States, just because I thought it would be kind of cool because the countries are kind of in three different places to compare the education systems. So obviously the United States is pretty developed. Brazil is kind of, I mean, it's developed, but it's still kind of, there's portions of it that aren't really kind of developing yet, and then Ghana is kind of bottom, still developing. Their education system is still developing too. So through my Ghana pre-project class, we read a book about Ghana, and there's a big section about the education system and how like 20 years ago, only 30% of kids went to school, and now it's up to like 80%. So they're doing a lot right now. So I just thought it'd be kind of cool. Yeah, so that's kind of my favorite. But yeah, and then there's that.
Yeah, so I don't know if you want to.
So sure, I did this last night because I put up, well, you know, I have like 4 different websites. I put it on the wrong one, so I just copied and pasted it. But I just added these pictures. I wasn't sure if I should add captions or like what you guys thought, because I thought it was cool to
That is really
grab
cool.
there.
How did you get them to be connected?
I just put a space between them.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's more like a banner rather than.
Yeah,
I like
that looks good.
That's a really
Yeah.
good idea.
So that, this is before we went caving. This one is with my host family, so that was my mom and my dad, my mom's brother and his girlfriend, and then we went to some little, it's called a box bar. So like when the weather's really nice, they have these little wooden boxes, and people just like sit outside on the boxes, and then have a bigger box as like a table. It's kind of weird. But this guy was the owner of the place, and he thought it was like so cool that an American was at his bar. It wasn't really a bar; it was like an eating place, but they called it a bar. And so in my hand, I'm holding the little box that he gave me. So that was fun.
Thanks.
This one is in front of Iguazu Falls, which is one of the wonders of the world. I was really into jumping photos in Brazil. And then this is at the Brazil Gateway. Yeah, I just love that the same. Here's one about me. I remember Kelly in your remember this the one time you said
Yes. Yeah, so I emailed out everybody's, like whatever you wrote in your global option application.
Okay.
So that I emailed that out a couple days ago. Oh, it might be in junk mail because I used a merge function to do it in Word. So, sorry. So I'll try that again. But the actual statements that you guys ended up giving were at the most one sentence for a lot of people. And it was sort of like what you hope to gain or something. So it might be a seed of it that you could use, but I'll take a look at those emails and see where they went, and then maybe forward them out directly, which might then get through a filter. Yeah, but yeah. So, but yeah, it wasn't nearly as much as I thought I'd asked you guys to write about. And it turns out like one student, for instance, didn't write anything So I just had to send him, I sent him an email and said, actually, you didn't fill in this blank. So I'm not giving away your name. So, all right, but I'll go in now and resend those. Okay.
For my culture and language course, I just did my through budget class now, just because we're learning a lot about the culture and like, we're learning how to speak language and stuff. And for Brazil, we didn't really do that until down here. So yeah, there's that. And then my education abroad, I did all of Brazil.
Makes sense.
So yeah, there's all this. Did you guys want to read it?
Should it be in third person or first person?
Probably first because it's your ePortfolio.
I wasn't really sure how to like tense these, so like if I should like pre-refer should be like as like I'm looking forward to leaving. So like I wrote all these in past tense because I just thought about what I was thinking about then.
Sure. No, that makes
So I wasn't sure. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just didn't know.
I think it's kind of open to interpretation, but since people reading it right now are also looking
Yeah.
back into the past, it's sort of like I could see it going either way.
Okay.
You know what, can you put that resume share at the top?
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. Just click OK. Okay, and then go down to the bottom and click share screen. Okay, and then click. Yep. Sure. There you are. Okay. Sometimes it jumps it.
Yeah.
I don't show that those got sent. So I will recreate that document and get them out to you.
But yeah, that's like how I don't know how to do this one. With this one, global course and major, should I just do like this classes we took?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I would probably do if I were you. Pick one of them.
All right, you're up.
My turn.
Is that one right? That one?
Should be, yes. So as some people know, me and technology don't always get along. I struggle learning how to do up-to-date things. It deals with communication. So I probably need to do something with my homepage. Figure out how to delete the hello worlds and maybe
In the instructions, there is something about that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll look more into that. I did add some information under About Me. So biography of who I am and what I've done in school and so forth. Why I pursued the global option. Then my goals for the global option. I think I want to add maybe a picture or two more in there, just kind of give a better understanding, of the why I chose to pursue global option. And then for my culture and language, I'm doing Honduras since that was my second study abroad, and I learned more about. It would reflect more on the culture in Ghana by going into a second study abroad, so I thought that'd be more of an advanced area for me. And for education abroad, I was going to do Ghana, and my global course. I'm currently in a class called Global Business Food, Global Food Issues. I was going to talk about that. So those are my 3 categories. I have not done the education abroad or the global course. I've only worked on the Honduras.
The global course was in your major is probably which one?
I was going to do the global food business.
That's you said that. Sorry.
You're
I think in your case it could also be pre-departure Ghana, depending on what you wanted to do.
okay. I could do either one. Yeah, I need to work on the whole formatting thing. I need to figure out that. It was nice because, in Honduras, the experience, Dr. Kano and Tyler, we did these things throughout the trip. We did reflections. We did, what are we engaging in? What are we learning? So that was one thing that was really helpful for me. Be able to design this page. It was easier. Now, they gotta be a little more difficult to get and do as much reflection. So that's something I recommend, Kayla, when you go, make sure you try to reflect because you won't really have much time to do that. So that's something I wish I would have done more of. But that was my first day abroad. I wasn't sure what to expect.
Right.
Looking back, I wish I did more reflection. I mean, that goes for any study abroad, really. So that's what I've done so far on my page. I did the Honduras and the biography.
And then one of the things you guys could do is once you have it in your resume updated with your international stuff, that could be something that you link to like about me.
Okay.
Yeah. So then, if you do then make this public and send it out to people as a resource to learn more about you, then you kind of have one central site that has a lot of those tools.
Now, once we graduate, do we still have access to this page?
I think for a certain amount of time. I don't remember exactly how much longer after that it is, but for a bit. But it does use WordPress. So you might be able then to export it to a non-OSU login based WordPress site.
Yeah, because I would like to link it to my resume for future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
really
can
good tool.
ask our distant send people how that might be able to be done.
Nice. And then for my project, I'm going to look at teaching and learning and multicultural studying. Using my experiences in Ghana, Honduras, and working with the schools, and in Ghana, I got to actually teach in the school, so I really got that firsthand experience of teaching across cultures. And for my future career, whether it be a rural school or urban school, there's going to be some type of different types of cultures and diversity. So I want to learn and explore more options on how to teach different cultures, how to connect with them in the classroom, and then also learning because they learn different across cultures. So I want to kind of dig deep into researching how that can be done. That way, prepare myself not just in teaching, but then also for a career, whether it be informal, formal. There's all kinds of cultures I want to explore.
Any feedback or recommendations for Cody on this project or?
The only thing I thought about was hyperlinking your Honduran thing to so
Which one's that?
if you go to education abroad, .edu and you search your program.
Honduras isn't currently active
I
though.
looked at that because I did.
Right.
Yeah, Ghana is
I
still
know
out
it.
there.
So
But,
I looked into that and thought, wait a second, that doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
So
that was my
no, you're fine.
Or
Because
was there a blog or anything that would still exist? Or-
we did do a blog every evening. That should still exist. Emily Wickham may know because I know she posted it on
But yeah, things like that might be kind of interesting
Okay.
to add up there. That sort of thing. And don't feel like you need to be completely limited to just these types of things. If there are other resources you have access to and would like to link through this, that's fine to do as well. So for instance, Cody, I know something you guys did at the end of Honduras was you selected your favorite picture and came up with a quote of some sort from yourself to describe that. So if that's something that you have.
Yep, already done.
There.
Yep.
Oh, wait, there was
No,
it.
You're fine.
At the bottom.
Yep, that was this
At the
one.
very bottom. Oh, that is that one.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's the one
I didn't realize that was the one.
You're fine.
Yeah, what is this class reflection? Did you guys, what did you call it? Like a photo reflection or something?
Yeah, photo reflection. Should I change the name?
No, no, no,
or-
No, I thought it just, it's the only, I'm the only person out there who probably would even be looking for like, that was a photo reflection thing, it was a hallway, and
Sure.
not realize that this is the exact same thing.
Which I'm hoping they put ours up because the renovations, ours never went up. So I'm hoping, you know,
At
ours
some
did.
point,
Yeah.
yeah, you might reach out to Emily, because maybe they can do it even
That's true.
electronically in the meantime.
Oh, that's good.
Post it on the Instagram page or
Sure.
something. Cool. So you guys are making a lot of progress, I think, in terms of the purpose of the global option being to sort of synthesize your experiences and pull it together. And I hope that you're finding that the capstone kind of is helping you synthesize that, and maybe helping lead to, like, if it might be grad school or additional work that you might do in an international setting to help you have that foundation to understand. And so there's a method behind all this madness. And so I hope that you're starting to see some of that outcome in yourself and being able to articulate your experiences in a way that's meaningful for you in terms of your career and just your personal development. So I'm really proud of you guys and everybody out there too. And just the way these types of things are coming together. So, all right.
I'll work on mine this week. Maybe have something to share if we have time.
It'll be beautiful. It'll be beautiful. So I'm just kind of thinking through things too. As students, would you guys be willing to make these public for those 48 hours? Because then what we could do is under the tab there for the final project, if that's where you could maybe link your final projects, like if it's a video, you know, put it on YouTube and put the link, or put up like a PowerPoint that's recorded and that sort of a thing. Would that be something you guys would be willing to do? Would be like April 30th-ish,
Sure.
I think is when we said it would
Yeah.
be. But that might be a format we could use, and then I could have, for the 12 of you in the class, we could have the links on a page for people to go to and visit, make comments or ask questions via the comment function on this.
Is there a way to make it so that everyone in the class can see all of these while we're working on them too? So say we do,
While you're working on them?
like if we have another, I think, oh no, that's the, I was gonna say, I thought we talked about discussing it later too in that way.
Yeah,
You know,
so,
we can continually give feedback.
right, and then actually for those out there in the world, so if you want others to be able to see yours to give you the feedback, then we're gonna need to make that happen. This week for you guys anyway. So one of two ways it can happen is that you either go into your settings and make it public, and I can take a look at doing that because I think you pass me the mouse. I might actually have access to do that, or you can go in and give people permission individually to see your site. So for instance, let's go to pick on Kayla. Yours is completely public. Okay.
Well, it says my mom wants
So you have to see it. Okay. It was part of the instructions was you could make it private or public, but you needed to add me as an administrator so I can do stuff with it. Why don't I go back to my dashboard? Sorry. Oh wait, that is. Okay. Yeah. So I'm not going to screw that.
Oh yeah, it says visibility public.
Yeah, right over here. You can see that. So status, publish, visibility, public.
Okay.
So if you want to share that then with your classmates, or maybe only even temporarily, you could make it completely public. I don't think anybody's going to go out looking for it if you're embarrassed or something and don't want it to be completely public. I don't think people will find it, but I'm not sure exactly in terms of the settings how to get in and make it. Not like only public to a couple different people. So, but honestly, I don't think people are going to be out there looking for it and aren't going to find it, especially if you only want to leave it public for a couple days. Okay. So for now, then, that's sort of also what I'll think of doing then in terms of the forum piece is making your pages public for a couple of days there in mid-April when we have it scheduled. And then let people know that if they go specifically to your final project link, then that's where they can see your projects. So, so that's where you would link your final project. And then I think that there's a way then for us to, I'll look up how to make it comment ready on here as well.
Perfect.
Sound good?
Yes.
Okay, well that is the intended purpose in class today was just to give you guys a chance to talk about these things with your classmates, gain some ability in articulating your projects, and get some feedback, and have you guys then get to see what each other are doing and be inspired. So, sound good?
Sounds good.
Awesome, guys. Well then, I will provide additional input if you guys have specific questions, and then there we are. It's like I'm a news broadcaster. He's like, which camera? Which camera? So we'll figure that out. If you guys have questions, let me know. But the intent is that you will record yourself talking about your project. It might only be like a minute or two, and then provide access so that the other people can get to your information. I think, I can't remember exactly, but I have Carmen set up to require these to be turned in by maybe Friday night or Saturday night, I can't remember which, but then it's set up automatically then like 6 a.m. the next day, like maybe Friday by midnight, 11:59, and then Saturday morning at 6 a.m. to duel them out to each other. So, but you guys in here don't have to worry about that because you've just done it. You guys out there, it's not graded, but it's sort of a way for you guys to provide feedback to each other and to make progress. All right. Okay. Super, guys. Well, we will talk to y'all soon, and have a great rest of the week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, wait, here. Let me get you guys back.
Bye.